Hello, my name is Dale Dufay, doing the commentary on this video for Mary Hall. This is one of the live cams she watches, and this is in Germany. Now, this is a sunrise, and this is really spectacular because this aberration here, right in the center of the sun, is reflecting on the water here, and even interrupted by the pier here. And it's very interesting because if this was something the camera was causing, say there was a black dot that hit every high light source, it would be a black dot down here, which we've seen in reflections, but this one's really telling because the glare is very long. And if you notice too, it's like actually you could see a lot of movement in it. And down here, and I mentioned previously in other videos, you could see the clockwise rotation of it. And then up on the one that's in front of the sun, it's going counterclockwise. So there again, verifying the glare and what it should be doing if there was something there. But you could see, look at all the incredible movement. And of course, this breakup is due to this what appears to be a pier there. And it's just remarkable. It's telling, very telling. And we have to keep in mind that a lot of this, we have to assume, first of all, we have to wonder, is this an artificial sun? And then, you go to the articles. There's articles all over about, we'll leave links to these articles in the description box below. But these articles are specifically about the one in China they're developing. See how this one here, it says researchers in China will bring their artificial sun. Now, why are they calling it artificial sun? Because it's exactly just that. Up to full speed in 2020. So this being, 2021, is that what we're looking at here? Is this one of the artificial suns? And we have to keep in mind that there's many U.S. patents related to artificial suns, and there has been for decades. Of the argument being, of course, by the inventors and developers of these technologies is to extend growing seasons and things. But it obviously goes beyond that. There's something going on here. Here's another one. This one I believe is in Italy. I can't remember where this is exactly. I'll put it up. It shows Central European Standard Time up here. So this is in Italy, no doubt. And it too is a sunrise, because Mary's captured these as the sun was setting, but you can also catch them as the sun's rising, and it seems to be only visible when the sun is at close to the horizon. Even though we have seen them in midday in Italy, in Milan, Italy in particular. So is this an artificial sun? It's not surprising that it would be, because of the very mere fact that they are making them. These things are meant to be deployed in space. And China's got the best one thus far. So it's, and people have brought up about how, why can't we see these in other, why can't we see them everywhere? See, when you go fast forward, right now I'm going backwards. So the sun's rising, and you can see the clear rotation as we move fast forward, counterclockwise, and then of course the clockwise rotation on the glare on the water. So it's that's something the normal sun does not do. I can show you an example. This is in Germany as well. What's interesting about this one is the corona, or this interesting color around this aperture here. And this something else we have to keep in mind is on the artificial suns. If you look at a lot of the patents on some of the older ones, even they all have this center aperture on the device, which projects the energy onto the reflectors, the shields that go all around it, and they're quite large as satellites go, but they're very small, so they're not going to, as far as viewing them from the ground, so not everyone's going to see them. The real sun's behind there, 90 million miles away. I know that that doesn't bode well with flat earthers, but yes, the real sun is it's a star, and it's 90 million miles away from this planet. So it's behind there, but only people over Europe are going to see this, or within a certain parallel. Now, even if you got beyond the periphery of this, here we can see in Germany where this is. But if we got around to the periphery limits of this satellite, it would still be very difficult to see what's going on, because they juice up the skies up there all over, especially it seems like around these artificial suns. And there's obvious for a reason, so we can't make out what's going on up there. Here's another one in Germany. See it up here, outside the screen, way up here. It's just, we could fast forward and see this one's hardly moving at all. It's like, really, it's very dense. This might be one of the newer ones, that might be the Chinese one up there. Who knows? But again, not everybody's going to see them. They only deploy them where needed. So that's interesting. They obviously, for some reason, they need them over Europe, because these are being picked up on webcams in Germany and Italy. Mary's been discovering them. And these are morning ones. Usually you don't see them in the morning. You got to get up real early in the morning, or again, these times are like 6 hours ahead of us here in Eastern time in the United States. So you got to get up real early to catch this artificial suns rising. And see how they souped up the sky back there? These are all airplane clouds. Some of these may be real clouds up here, but for the most part, what's obscuring the sun and causing that deliberate glare are these airplane clouds back here. And we can get into that. Speaking of which, Pamela sent Mary some really interesting pictures. These are very intriguing. Now, many, including Michael Bradbury, Mr. MBB333, now he thinks that these are shadows, but I don't know how this one can be, because it's going across the sky. So in order for this to be a shadow, the sun would have to be way behind on a very low angle to create this long shadow. Now, I've seen these before personally, even myself here in Southwest Michigan, and I've always thought them to be a companion trail to these. In other words, there's more. It's like they don't mix everything in the aerosols as they spray them or anything. It's like they need like other parts to mix up in the atmosphere. And I believe that these shadow-looking ones are laid by a cloaked, airplane, because they don't want us to see two airplanes practically parallel up in the sky, because we'd start realizing that unless they were refueling one, it's not right. So we would question that. So you're not always going to see this either, and they could very well be shadows. But when you see these pictures, I mean, if you keep an eye on the sky as this is happening, and shortly after, you could see the two kind of blending together and spreading real far apart, like these clouds here. So this may be an ingredient laid by a cloaked ship. You have to keep in mind they have that technology. Don't let them tell you otherwise. A lot of the stuff that we think, they say that they're literally, the military and government is literally like 50 years ahead of us on the stuff they're letting us use. Like these tablets have been around for decades, But these ones have always intrigued me. Here's another one from a farther away. See how the sun would have to be at an incredibly steep angle to be able to make this kind of reflection. So it just doesn't seem like one. That's not saying it isn't, but I think that this is an ingredient to this alleged condensation trail. I mean, these are not condensation trails, my friend. Those are aerosols, and they have a lot of aluminum in them, which is designed to pick up, to reflect the sun back into space. And here in Southwest Michigan, yesterday on the 3rd, and even today on the 4th, they've been airplane clouds were laying their patterns. They were doing X patterns, which you don't see too often. In fact, at one point we caught 3 full X's up in the sky. This is Southwest Michigan. This is one that was laying it. And if you notice, sometimes they'll have a commercial name on there like Delta or whatever. But these are, there's no passengers in here. This cargo area and passenger cabin area has huge tanks in them, kind of like propane tanks, the big ones you see in yards. They're in the cabin, and they spray out by the engines, because you can see these coming out of the engine. But when you zoom in real close on this one, you could actually see, more ingredients there, real faint, part of the aerosol spraying. And then this all eventually, mixes together and forms a cloud. That's not condensation, jet engine condensation is very short. It usually disappears right about at that point as the plane's flying. It doesn't go on for miles and miles, hundreds of miles in some cases. Here's that same one. But you can see here they're starting to form X patterns. There's a previous one, maybe 5-10 minutes early, but see how they spread? And the whole sky in general is like we call it Bill Gates blue. Now, the reason we use Bill Gates as an example is because it shows that it's the people with money that are paying for all this. Because can you imagine the millions of dollars this is costing? The governments are not paying for it, because otherwise they'd have to be accountable. There's private industry doing this, and it's usually those elite with the money that's paying for all this. But it causes a general light blue haze. And even though yesterday, and here this particular picture was taken on the 2nd of July, it was very cool that day. There was no humidity whatsoever. So that's not haze from humidity or from the sun here. But it's created by these airplane clouds. And again, they think they're trying to protect us. They think they're saviors of the world. I'm going to get back to that one. Here's a real faint X, but it was laid out earlier. Again, this is on July 2nd, about midday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But here's a clear X. See, this is not condensation. You know what I mean? This was late when this one was laid out, which looks to be a little higher than this one. It was this thin when it was laid out, but see how it spreads? That's not condensation. You can see even the streaking. It's literally spread across the whole sky. There's another X. It's like they were doing X patterns. You don't see that too often. Here's 2 X's. Look at this, right there and right there, all in one frame. And these were taken with a Nikon P900, which we use a lot to take moon pictures. Mary does, and all kinds of really great pictures. But you can see the haze here, everywhere, streaking. These are not natural. This is all artificial clouds laid by airplanes. Here's another predominant X. So for some reason they were spraying. A lot of times they'll do it ahead of where it's going to wind up, where they need it to be done, and they'll do it ahead of that area. So there might not have been anything in particular in the skies to hide above Southwest Michigan in this location, but it might have been down wind from there. But you can't help it. Usually you could tell when they're doing a lot of airplane cloud distributions that they're trying to hide something up there. That's why I want to get back to this sun picture. That's what's neat about this P900 is it takes real good pictures of the sun. Because I was always looking for Planet X. Here you can see the airplane cloud going right across through here. But the real interesting thing about this photo, and I've taken thousands of pictures over the years with this. I know you're not supposed to do it, but you can. taking pictures of the sun. Now, this is the first time I have ever seen these anomalies. See these black dots here? These are not from the camera lens, I'm telling you. We keep the camera lens very clean, and spots on the camera lens look a lot different than this, because we've had this P900, Nikon P900 for several years, or at least 3 years, and have taken tens of thousands of pictures, and many of the sun, thousands of the sun, but never seen this before. And I wasn't meaning to. I just for, you know, just for the heck of it, I decided to take a picture of the sun. I didn't expect to see these. These were, this was alarming to see this. There's 7 of them up there if you look real close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't remember what the seventh one might be there unless I counted it, but Mary counted 7. She's the one that can really see things way more than I can. She's got a way better eye. But these are particularly unusual, that I've never seen before. So could these objects be what they're trying to hide? Because it is said that the things they're trying to hide are around our sun. Now, you would think that you can't, if there wasn't so much haze from laying out airplane clouds, you may be able to see these. Of course, most people ain't going to be looking towards the sun, but they're hiding something they don't want us to see. This one Mary thought looked like a triangle, and it sure does. But this could be all part of the Planet X system if you're into that theory and whatnot. People in the Planet X community would love to see this picture, because it's quite revealing, and it also reveals what they're trying to do here, or uncover the fact that they're trying to cover things like this. Now, this couldn't, we certainly couldn't pick this up with the naked eye, nor did I see it on the monitor of the camera. And it just didn't. You don't see these things till after the picture's ready to be viewed. So, this is unexpected and very surprising. So that could be what they're trying to hide. This could be really nothing. It could be a part of, the camera. But again, I've never seen it. They're not birds or anything, because I did a lot of experiments with all that stuff. I used to play around with the Nikon P900 a lot. This is a first for these. So I was really excited to pick them up. But this Southwest Michigan, they may be what they're hiding. And we have to go to the fact that there's these artificial suns do exist. They've been making them for decades. They don't seem to boast about their deployment or anything, but yet so why are there patents? Why do they make them? Why? Lots of questions. See, that was a bird there. Did you see that? But this is a lot of questions. Is this one of those artificial suns? And why are they deploying them over Europe right now? And getting back to this one, the sun picture, I wanted to bring out this point too. I don't believe that this is an artificial one. I do believe this is the real McCoy. Because I don't need the artificial sun here. They're not, sure there may be things to hide here, but these are not going to be that visible, even if they weren't souping up the sky. So you just, why do they need them over Europe? I'm not saying that because there's no arbitrage in here, but it just looks normal to me, because we look at them through a welder's lens as well, and it just, you see a perfect circle. So it doesn't look artificial, because those artificial ones are somewhat opaque because they're not perfect circles, and also they're so souped up in the skies and everything. So let Mary know what you think. And do you think these are artificial suns? Do you think this is normal? Or if you do believe they're artificial suns, what do you think they're trying to hide? So, with that, thank you for watching, and we'll talk at you later.